The Jimmy Z Show.
Okay, in Steubenville, Ohio, there were 2 African-American kids found guilty of rape at the ages of 16 and 17. The bad part about this is that they are going to be exonerated, I suppose, at the age of 21, and that this record will probably be sealed because it happened when they were kids, and our legal system assumes that at 21 they won't be rapists anymore. And I really doubt that these 2 kids, Trent Mays and Malik Richmond, are going to have to register as sex offenders. But they were found guilty, and there was much crying and carrying on. Here's an ABC News report to bring you up to snuff.
A new question out of the dramatic court case in Ohio. 2 high school football players, the assault of a young girl, and pictures passed around. But tonight, this question: how wide is the circle of responsibility, and does it include adults who should have done more? ABC's Elizabeth Vargas is with the Ohio Attorney General tonight.
The rape case that turned the spotlight on Steubenville, Ohio, didn't end with the conviction of the 2 promising young football players. Trent Mays was sentenced to at least 2 years in juvenile detention. Malik Richmond, at least 1 year. He walked over to apologize to the victim's family.
I'm sorry to put you guys through this.
But today, Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine told me he is convening a grand jury to see if others should now be charged. Where are the adults? Where are the parents?
The whole story, as we've unraveled it and learned it, is just very disturbing. Where were the parents? Where were her friends? Where were the witnesses who we brought into court? What were they thinking? Why did they allow this to occur?
The widening circle of those who could be held accountable include the homeowners of the house where the rape took place, football coaches and school officials who may have been aware of the assault, and other teens attending the party who could all be charged for failing to report a felony.
Good. I hope they do expand the number of kids who are charged in this case. But if you're going to talk about parents, where were the rapist parents? But that's not even what blows my mind here. A video has been circulating all over the internet with different commentators on CNN who were very upset at the poor boys who were the rapists crying in court and how sad it was for them and their future. What about the rape victim? It's unbelievable. I'm going to play this right now. And notice that according to what I've been reading, these commentators don't mention the rape victim at all.
I'm Candy Crowley in Washington. Reliable Sources is just ahead, but first, a breaking story we're following. 2-star high school football players in Steubenville, Ohio, have been found guilty of raping a West Virginia teenager. The story has attracted national attention. The judge just ruled a few moments ago. Listen in.
In this case, regarding the charges of rape, both defendants, Malik Richmond and Trenton Mays, are committed to the Department of Youth Services for a minimum period of 1 year, a maximum period till you're 21.
Again, this case was played out in juvenile court. That is why there is a judge, no jury. He decided on the verdict, as well as you heard there talking about the sentence. We want to go now to CNN's Poppy Harlow. She is in Steubenville, has been covering this trial. I cannot imagine, having just watched this on the feed coming in, how emotional that must have been sitting in the courtroom.
I've never experienced anything like it, Candy. It was incredibly emotional, incredibly difficult even for an outsider like me to watch what happened as these 2 young men that had such promising futures, star football players, very good students, literally watched as they believed their life fell apart. One of the young men, Malik Richmond, when that sentence came down, he collapsed. He collapsed in the arms of his attorney, Walter Madison.
You know, this is worse than I anticipated. I've not heard this before. A lot of times I do not watch videos and I do not read articles until I'm doing the show because I want you to hear. I mean, I do research, but I don't read these articles and I don't listen to a lot of the videos because I want you to hear my original reaction. And this is appalling. This is amazing. Listen to all this emotion and compassion for the rapists. I can't get my voice to go higher, or or I would, just to express my shock. This is a woman reporter on CNN, and she's expressing all this concern for the rapists.
They believe their life fell apart.
Well, what about the rape victim? These boys had a choice, all right? They decided they were going to rape this girl. And now they've been convicted. And this woman on CNN is freaking out. Oh, no, their lives are over, and they're going to be great football players, and now their lives are over. They raped a girl. Holy crap.
It was incredibly emotional, incredibly difficult, even for an outsider like me, to watch what happened as these two young men that had such promising futures, star football players, very good students, literally watched as they believed their life fell apart.
Wow. You know, I saw people posting this all over Facebook yesterday. And I thought, well, this is going to be pretty disturbing to hear commentators on CNN talking about how terrible this is for the convicts, the rapists. But really, until you hear it, there's no way you can conceive how crazy this is. It's unbelievable, really. I would expect that even a liberal newswoman on CNN would understand that a young girl has been raped.
He collapsed. He collapsed in the arms of his attorney, Walter Madison. He said to him, "My life is over. No one is going to want me now."
You know what the kid is talking about? No one is going to want me now? He's talking about his football career. He's talking about getting into a good college as a football player. He's concerned about his freaking football career. I can't believe this. I'm overmodulating, distorting a bit, but this kid is not, that kid is not concerned about the rape victim. He's concerned about what kind of college is not going to want him anymore as a football player. As a football player! Your football career, you scumbag, you piece of crap. And he's only getting 2 years? He's only getting 2 years. 2 years. All of this is completely unbelievable. Obviously, they were not tried as adults. They should have been tried as adults. The kid should be in jail for 15 years minimum.
He collapsed. He collapsed in the arms of his attorney, Walter Madison. He said to him, "My life is over. No one is going to want me now." Very serious crime here. Both found guilty of raping the 16-year-old girl at a series of parties back in August. Alcohol-fueled parties. Alcohol, a huge part in this. But Trent Mays was also found guilty on a second count, and that is of felony illegal use of a minor in nudity-oriented material because he took a photograph of the victim laying naked on the floor that night. Trent Mays will serve 2 years in a juvenile detention facility.
2 years in a juvenile detention facility. He deserves 15 or 20 years in a prison where he can experience what rape is like in the backside.
Better call no homo.
Malik Richmond will serve 1 year on that one count that he was found guilty for. I was sitting about 3 feet from Malik when he gave that statement. It was very difficult to watch. And you know, something that came up throughout this sentencing, Candy, was that Malik's father got up and spoke. Malik has been living with guardians. His father, a former alcoholic, gotten into a lot of trouble with the law, been in prison before. And his father stood up and he told the court, "I feel responsible for this. I feel like I wasn't there for my son."
Oh, I can guarantee you that the piece of crap alcoholic father who's had nothing but trouble with the law is very much responsible for what's happening here. He was not there for his son. How many studies do we have to read about what is happening in the black community? Most babies are born out of wedlock. Most fathers of these babies are nowhere to be found. And the bottom line here is that all this kid is worried about is playing football. Nah, nobody's going to have me as a football player. I won't be able to play football up in here. It's amazing, but all they're going to spend, one of the rapists is going to be in juvenile detention for 2 years, and the other rapist is going to be in juvenile detention for 1 year. Is that just punishment? I don't think so. I don't think it even comes close.
And his father stood up and he told the court, I feel responsible for this. I feel like I wasn't there for my son. And before that, he came over to the bench where his son was sitting. He approached him, he hugged him, and he whispered in his ear. And Malik's attorney said to us in the courtroom, I have never heard Malik's father before say, I love you. He's never told his son that, but he just did today. This was an incredibly emotional day. These two juveniles being carried out right now. I'm watching people line up, and they will be committed today, Candy.
Poppy Harlow in Steubenville, Ohio for us. I want to bring in Paul Callan, our CNN legal contributor. You know, Paul, a 16-year-old now just sobbing in court. Regardless of what big football players they are, they still sound like 16-year-olds. The other one, 17, a 16-year-old victim. The thing is, when you listen to it and you realize that they could stay until they're 21, they are going to get credit for time served. What's the lasting effect, though, on two young men being found guilty in juvenile court of rape, essentially?
Wow, I tell you, it was such a big mistake for them to try these kids in juvenile court. Juvenile court. This is barely a slap on the wrist. And even though we know that Candy Crowley is not a reporter, she's a commentator, she has a far left bias, I still can't believe that she is carrying on in this very compassionate way about the poor kids. Oh, these poor kids. Now their life is ruined.
A 16-year-old now just sobbing in court. Regardless of what big football players they are, they still sound like 16-year-olds. The other one, 17, a 16-year-old victim. The thing is, when you listen to it and you realize that they could stay until they're 21, they are going to get credit for time served. What's the lasting effect, though, on two young men being found guilty in juvenile court of rape, essentially?
Rape, essentially. It almost sounds like Whoopi Goldberg. Well, there was rape, and then it wasn't rape. That's what Candy Crowley is saying. Oh, it's not rape. These are kids. They were out having a good time. They were drinking. It's not a big deal. It's juvenile court. They're going to be in jail. They're not even going to be in jail. They're going to be in juvenile detention for a year, and the other kid is going to be in there for 2 years. It's not a big deal. They've been convicted of rape. Boy, I'll tell you, this should not have been in juvenile court.
Well, you know, Candy, we've seen here a courtroom drenched in tears and tragedy. And, you know, Poppy's description, I think, sums it all up. But across America, scenes like this happen all the time. I know as a prosecutor and a defense attorney, when that verdict is handed down, usually it's just the families of the defendants and the victims. There's always that moment of just lives are destroyed. And lives have already been destroyed by the crime. And we got a chance to see that. But in terms of what happens now, yeah, the most severe thing with these young men is being labeled as registered sex offenders. That label is now placed on them by Ohio law. And by the way, the laws in most other states now require such a designation in the face of such a serious crime.
Oh, good. I didn't realize that. That's great. They are going to be registered as sex offenders. And that should be celebrated. They are sex offenders. They're convicted rapists. I can only hope that does not end up getting expunged.
That label is now placed on them by Ohio law. And by the way, the laws in most other states now require such a designation in the face of such a serious crime. That will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Employers, when looking up their background, will see that they're registered sex offenders. When they move into a new neighborhood and somebody goes on the internet where these things are posted, neighbors will know that they're a registered sex offender. It's really something that will have a lasting impact, much more of a lasting impact than going to a juvenile facility for 1 or 2 years.
Oh, that's great news. That makes me feel much better. And I don't care how old they are. I don't care what happens to their college football careers or their pro football careers. I don't care about any of that. If at the age of 16 and 17, they didn't know that rape was wrong, screw them. I hope for the rest of their lives they suffer for what they've done. I'm Jimmy Z. You're listening to The Jimmy Z Show right here at thejimmyzshow.com, where I'm hated by the left for all the right reasons.
The Jimmy Z Show.